Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Quantumly Yours podcast from Finnessiam Health with me, your host, Wendie Patrick, talking about all sorts of things, hopefully to help you get empowered, educated, informed, and just opening up a few other doors to things to help your animals and pets that you may not have known about or considered before. Before we go into anything today, I just want to remind everyone that nothing that I say is meant as a diagnosis or as treatment or is in any shape, way, or form meant to replace standard and ongoing care from your medical professional and or vet. Today, we're going to look at other things that are available to help your pets. So natural ways to support them, whether that's maintenance, whether that's coming from your vet, sending them to you. But there's an awful lot of other modalities out there that a lot of people aren't aware of or that they've overlooked before because they never thought they were effective, didn't know much about them, didn't know enough about them, didn't trust the people doing it. All of that is very, very fair because you, as your pet or horse or any animal caregiver, it's your job to do the best that you can for them. And you want to do that. And certainly when you're looking for other things to help them or other ways that you can help them yourself, then you want to do as much research into whoever is providing that information and know that they are qualified, properly educated, properly experienced, and talking from a good, solid foundation rather than just some marketing gimmick or something that keeps popping up in your social media feeds telling you to buy it. So we're going to look at all of those today. And although the title says is what else could help, natural ways to support our pets is the title of the episode. But with pets, we also look after horses. We also offer care and light therapy for them. So let's get into a few different things that are available. You have your vet. That is your one staple that you've always had. You go to them whenever that puppy comes home or that kitten comes home or that horse needs their jabs or whatever. You look at farriers for their feet. Perhaps your dentist does the teeth floats as well. But beyond that, sometimes people are looking a little bit more, or sometimes they just don't want to put all eggs into one basket. And certainly your vet should be able to help recommend or suggest other natural ways of helping your animal. And certainly in some countries, you can only get to see some of these other professionals with a vet recommendation, referral, or from the company that's providing the extra help asking for consent form to be filled in, which I've just heard about recently. It's a thing here in the UK, apparently. But certainly, I mean, whenever we're looking after or helping anything, as we don't do anything invasive, we will not puncture skin. We don't do blood work, anything like that. We will refer you back to your vet to do that, and anybody should. Certainly, we can work along with your vet, looking at different levels in the blood and things like that. But that's getting into a wee bit more sort of measy. Let's go independently. You're sort of well, the fact that we're actually being seen or we've been heard in over 66 countries now actually blows my mind. So again, a huge thank you to everyone out there who tunes in, listens. But the most important way we can get our message out there to help your animals and empower you to help them more is by you telling others about us. So we really appreciate it if you would recommend us, suggest us to others, share a link, whatever it is, and certainly help to get out there more, because we want to basically help all the animals. I mean, that's a completely fantastical dream that I have, but that's me. I aim for the best that I can possibly be in any given moment. So with that being said, you can help us to get the word out there. We don't have these big marketing budgets. We don't have anything. I mean, we is basically me and my animals. That is the we around here. Of course, Darren is my other half. If you He's certainly very good for helping us with formulations, mixing things, all the rest of it. And yeah, he's oh, sorry, I'm just seeing little messages popping up on my screen. So yeah, forgive me. You see how organic this is because we don't edit it to the fact of all the ums and ahs go out of it. What you get here is me. You'll always get here is me. And certainly that's how we support everyone who actually works with us, including our retailers that sell our products. They always get me, which is a rare thing, but I've been known to be called very many various things, including rare. And I find that as a compliment. I don't want to be cookie cutter, the same as any old thing that's out there. Maybe less of the old there, Wendie, but we're getting on. But anyway, I digress as per usual. You will be aware of that by now. But let's go into some things that are available. Now, apart from your vet as your standard pet care provider, certainly any surgery, that's who you're going to see. Any major things to be done, that's who you're going to see. There are other things as well that even work alongside, perhaps even in your vet clinic. You may have physios, osteopaths, chiropractors, and yes, indeed, these people do exist to work with animals as well, and sometimes solely animals. And they are very, very, very good. They also have to be educated or professionally educated to the same qualifications or standards as would be, as in my mind, classed isn't in the same category as a vet, because if they're doing physical manipulations, moving body and stuff like that, you need to make sure that they know what they're doing and they're properly qualified. So if somebody goes, oh, well, I can come and do that adjustment for you, go, well, just hold on a minute. Don't trust anybody who says that they can do something unless you have proof or knowledge or referral from someone else, or someone else has seen their work or their credentials. Protect your pets at all costs, and certainly protect your wallet at all costs as well. You don't want to invite someone in to work with your animal that's actually going to cause more harm than good. So that's of course. With the pet industry always growing, insanely growing, probably faster than a lot of other industries out there, then you want to be careful. There are a lot of charlatans around there, and they are more than happy to take your money. One-stop wonders, here they are, you'll never find them again, or oh, they're too busy, they can't fit you in. Be very wary. Listen to those red flags, as I keep telling you. Learn how to muscle test, or at least trust that gut instinct. If someone's absolutely gushing about someone and you're not quite sure, trust the not quite sure part. Trust that niggling thing on theirs. Accept what your friend or this other person has said and let them go in grace and do what they do. You don't have to be suckered into that, or you don't have to be pressured into doing anything like that. This is your choice that you have for your animals, and I always encourage you to make the right ones and get the best information to make the right ones. Very important. So along with those obviously professional professions, professional people, you also have the other ones that, of course, fit into the category of the woo-woo, or I don't believe in that stuff, blah, blah, blah. Fine. Let's talk about them, because they have a lot more validity than what I actually even gave them as well 20 years ago. I had heard of this, that, and the other thing, kind of went, nah. Now I'm doing all of that stuff. So you just never know where your journey is going to take you. And it just takes one experience or one aha moment or light bulb moment to maybe just change your way of thinking, or coming back to that crossroads on your journey and taking that other route, because you might find that the one that you've been continuing on for so long is just hitting roadblocks, hitting brick walls, not finding answers, not getting results, and just causing more stress than it's worth. Sometimes that's the universe maybe telling you, hello, you chose the wrong one. That's okay. You can change it anytime you like. You don't have to keep going, banging your head against that brick wall. So let's go back and relook at something. And I have tended to learn over the years where something keeps coming into your wheelhouse and going, hello, it's over here. Look at this. Look at this. This is shiny, but it's weird. But if that keeps happening, sometimes you can stand back from a distance and look at it, examine it, dissect it, dig into it as much as you want, and then go, that actually has a bit of merit to it. Let's look at it a bit further. Certainly that was my journey, and that's how I ended up finding out that I could help myself, and then in turn learning further more education, more studies, more courses, and finding out that I could use some of these methods and many others to help animals, and in turn, yours as well. And in fact, I do remote consults all around the world. I don't need to be there in order to touch your animal. And there's where the woo woo starts, doesn't it? It's all this energy stuff because it is everywhere. We say that. So we're all connected no matter what. If you understand that quantum physics was really only discovered around in the 1980s. I mean, it's really new in that sense that most of us, including myself, we never learned about that at school. It was still so new, so fresh, so out there, kind of weird. But there's lots more coming to light now. Lots more people are developing different things where they're doing energy healing, they're doing energy work, they're doing remote work and showing results. And that's, as I have said many times before, it's why I love working with animals too. Not only can I help them, but I can help them from an area that doesn't have to be even in the same room. And just the whole energy thing and how everything is connected. It is quite mind blowing. But when the animals give you the results, you know you can't make that up. And that's where that really shows people that there is merit to this. So working with the animals is very good. I certainly not all of them want to talk at that time, or some of them have different stories, but whatever. So going on to what we love using, and in fact, I use it daily, whether it's on myself or on my animals or on my clients, but there's generally not a light torch too far away from my hand. And if you're watching me on YouTube, you'll see I have my torch right here, and that's my light torch. Okay. LED, not laser. Lots of different things. Let's go into light a little bit here. Light therapy. Some people know it as cold laser. Some people know it as LED. Some people just know it as red light. Some people know it as this, that, or the other thing. The real proper term that is now becoming more and more recognized is photobiomodulation. Okay, that PBM. So if somebody says they have PBM therapy, it's photobiomodulation, it's light therapy. Now, there's a few different distinctions between this, and I'll go into to keep you safe from whenever you're making your choices. Yes, you can go on to those big marketing companies online and buy a torch for $10, £20, whatever it is. 9 times out of 10, they don't work. Again, jumping on the bandwagon, pet industry is a great money maker, but make sure that you're going to a trusted source. Mine is Photonic Therapy Institute over in the US. And in fact, I will stick a link in the notes from the show here at the end, giving you their website address and also a link that you can order and get a discount with my link. But I stand behind them because the owner and founder of that association has basically been doing this for nearly 40 years. She's done a lot of research. She's very science-based. And in fact, on that website, you'll find a lot of scientific articles. And I became board certified through them for pets, people, and horses. So in fact, I can actually, come out, light up your horse or do a session with them for maintenance and well-being. And in fact, do the same thing for you. So a lot of people actually are coming out to me and or I'm going to them, and they're getting their animals done and themselves at the same time. And they're all seeing the results. They're seeing the responses their body has to it. And they're starting to understand and have more belief and trust in it. But you do need the right tools to do it. You also do need someone who has been properly educated. I would put myself under that heading, in the fact that it wasn't just a 2-hour teleconference with 5 people sitting around a table, or a 3 or 4 hour Zoom call. This was months of study. It could have been longer than that, but I'm an overachiever and I like to condense things and do stuff as much as possible, as quickly as possible, the right way to get there. Because when I get into something, I get into it intensely. Yeah. Some of you may know that by now. Some of you are still to discover it, but that's what makes me me. And that's part of why I love helping animals and learning. As soon as I'm into another modality or something that really resonates or makes sense, then I want to learn as much as I can about that as soon as possible so that I can get everything in, trust that, try it, test it on me first. I'm always the biggest guinea pig in this house. And if it doesn't work, I then go, okay, that's not for me. Let's move on. Let's find something that's more effective, it's more efficient, that is more valid and actually trustworthy so that I can then become the same whenever I'm offering that to others. So the photobiomodulation, what comes underneath that is laser therapy, light therapy, whether that's masks for antibacterial ones in beauty salons for people, whether that's in hospitals. I know the Children's Hospital outside Dublin is doing light therapy now with the kids that are having chemotherapy, and maybe having a side effect of that is oral mucositis, which basically is a very painful condition in the mouth and like a dry mouth. So they're using light there. I found that out about a year or so ago. Very encouraging. Lots of companies in Europe, Germany is hugely ahead in how they use light therapy. You can go on the big beds with multicolored lights, with solely red light. Different light hits different depths through the skin. So you're talking with blue is your skin, the surface for antibacterial, think acnes and things like that, whereas you're going right down this through the spectrum into infrared, which actually can help the bone, where you can actually help to dissolve osteoarthritis or overcalcification of a joint. So it's very, very potent in the sense, but knowing where to use it and how to use it is important. Certainly, I used LED torches, and through the years, over the last 10 to 15 years, it has actually been discovered through a lot of scientific testing that these are just as effective as laser. And in fact, to me, they're better because they're safer. Do not let anyone near your animals with a laser unless they are a certified, qualified, and experienced acupuncturist. Reason being is the laser is basically okay. If we're hitting light, how it works is it basically targets different areas. So if you're hitting a certain point, say for example on a wrist, as I'm doing here on the YouTube, if you're watching it, and basically you'll see the torch, you'll see the light around it, and that's actually going to be hitting a point on a meridian, which is to me like a fiber optic network that runs throughout the body. So if you're hitting any part of that network, it's going through the whole body. Now, certainly, I mean, I can do this to help say liver, for example, and different things to help relieve anxiety or bring down blood pressure or whatever it is. And these are all scientifically proven. They're not wildly ecstatic claims. We don't make claims anyway. I mean, certainly you want to find out whether this is working or not. Go read the studies that you can find on the Photonic Therapy Institute website, because they are a multitude. They're massive amounts, that everything is on there for proper studies, documented evidence, peer reviewed, from clinical documents, from medical websites, and all the rest of it. There's tons of stuff. But if you're hitting different things on a certain point that are connected to this fiber optic network, as I like to call it, then that the body knows, oh, hello, there's light coming in down there, but I need it over here. And it will take it that whole way through the body to where it needs it to do the work, to stimulate the mitochondria, produce the ATP, which is the energy in that cell, and help the cell to work better. So that in turn helps the body to work better. That's basically what it does. Increases the circulation to do that. But if you were to hit that as an unqualified person and hit the wrong point, a laser can actually destroy that point or blow it out. And that is literally, in my mind, I visualize that as basically cutting that cable. So that's like saying, okay, you're connected to the cable, and your TV is connected to some sort of antenna or dish or whatever. I mean, that's maybe a bit au fait right now. It's a bit old fashioned, but then your TV won't work. So it has happened where unqualified people have grabbed the practitioner's laser going, oh, they're not in today, but I can do it. So be very, very careful. Oh, no, you can't. If that's a laser, put it down and walk away, please. You are not the person I'm here to see. So that's just to know about that. But your laser, torches, and yes, you can actually get your own torches from Photonic Therapy Institute. And those would be the ones that I recommend. They're the ones I use daily. They're the ones I trust. They're the ones I believe the science in because it has been proven to me time and time again that they are the right wavelength. They are the right frequency and your milliwatts per centimeter square and everything else. I'm very dubious about looking at so many of these other companies that are now knowing the buzzwords and the ways to advertise their equipment, but without testing them and testing hundreds of them, which actually Kay has done, then I don't trust any of them. So I'll stick with photonic therapy, and I always have done. And certainly, if you're ordering anything, it's going to be a nightmare because they're coming from the US. But at least the exchange rate here in the UK is okay. But customs is just one of those nasty little things that we're going to have to deal with, and they have always been around. The tariffs that your country impose are up to your country's government, and no big bad orange man or anything like that. If you want to blame everything, as most people are doing at the minute, on him, nothing to do with that at all. So your own government's tariffs and everything else are basically just an excuse because of someone else. Yeah, you're going to have to pay them. Sorry, digressing. There I go again, as usual. Okay, so what else we got, Wendie? We've got light therapy. I think you've gone into that. And actually, if you go back through the first season, you will actually find a podcast where I interviewed Kay, who is the owner and founder of Photonic Therapy Institute. And we talk about light. And that was before I started my course. It's very exciting. She lights a fire under you. She's passionate about what she does. It comes through a lot. So you want to hear someone else other than me, go back and see the light therapy podcast. And then I also did one after the Walt Light conference, where that was actually able to be done remotely. I was able to sit at home and attend all the seminars over, was it 2 or 3 days? Because it was during COVID. So they were able to have everything going pretty much as a live feed throughout the weekend. It was fantastic, absolutely amazing. The doctors and the different way that light is being used in different practices around the world, mostly on people. We were the small sector that was sort of advocating for animals. There were about maybe 2, maybe 3 vets on there, but lots and lots and lots of promise with this modality, which is why I love it so much. Now, a few other ones are great to know. One that I have actually used recently, we used at the beginning of this year with our little Elizabeth, who passed away there at the beginning of May. That was our standard poodle, and we took her at the end of January for a little go on a treadmill, a water treadmill. So hydrotherapy, that's a thing that's popping up all over the place here in the UK. And certainly, I do have some hesitation with it, but I do have just some warnings in the fact that make sure the people who are on the staff are qualified hydrotherapists. And certainly know what to do, because again, if they're putting too much effort on that, or if they're standing at the side of a pool, for example, and they're calling it hydrotherapy, and they're just chucking a ball in and your dog has to then jump into it, very careful on that. Basically, dogs can get waterboarded as well. They get excited, they get hyper, they get overexcited, and they gulp in a lot of water. That can be quite dangerous. So be careful with a lot of these places. But certainly the hydrotherapy itself in the treadmill, there should always be 2 hydrotherapists on hand, one inside the treadmill with the animal and the other one outside as well, in case they need an extra hand. It's very important. Safety first. That's one thing I have noticed about any of the places that I've visited here so far. And very, very professional. Very nice. And certainly looking into this and seeing more validity in it, and watching someone just the other day actually working with an animal in the pool. And I was very, very impressed with that. So that might be another future modality that I may go into next year. I'm actually quite hopeful that I do that. So keep you posted on that. But I do see the validity, sorry, of the water therapy. It's always been something that's been very, very good for any animal. I mean, to go and float, I mean, these big flotation chambers now are available for people. Lots of people get the benefit out of that. The fact that there's less stress on joints. It's great for rehabilitation. If animals are trying to recover from surgery, like an ACL or cruciate or something like that, the hydrotherapy, I think, has a huge, huge place, or fits a huge gap where it just supports the animal with proper trained professionals to actually monitor and see how much they can take, see how well they work, see their progress over different sessions and things like that. And also help the body to help itself heal better with less stress on the joints or areas of concern. Great for senior dogs. Great for dogs with neurological conditions as well, I would think, where maybe the wobblers, that's a condition. But certainly it's more dogs. There are a couple of hydrotherapy treadmills for horses as well. Absolutely phenomenal. But certainly, yeah, there's lots of things. Just, put it on your list of things to look up or things to think of just to make you aware that these are out there. Um, acupuncture, laser, that's kind of coming into the same sort of heading as light, because if you're using someone who is properly trained in photobiomodulation with the light torches, the LED, i.e. me, then we are actually targeting acupuncture points. Now, and that's why I said, an acupuncture and laser, don't let anybody near your animal unless they're properly trained as an acupuncturist, if they're using acupuncture, obviously, or if they're using laser. Just going down through my list that I wrote as I was trying to prepare for this. Massage can be very useful. Again, make sure they're qualified. Anyone who's doing any physical manipulations, like pushing on joints or maneuvering joints or pushing on muscles or feeling down the spine, if they're using any kind of pressure at all, make sure they're actually qualified into knowing what they're doing. It's one of the reasons I like the energy work, and I'll get into that in a little bit shortly here. But anyone, again, with the massage therapist, even though that's how my insurance classifies me as a massage therapist, because they don't understand what a light therapist is, and all the other stuff I do. So anyway, again, make sure anybody who's doing anything physically to your dog is understanding how that works, or has some sort of training in biomechanics and training muscle groups and all the rest of it, fascia, blah, blah, blah. Bodywork seems to be a term that's been popping up more over the past, I would say, 3 to 5 years in my wheelhouse. It's not to say that hasn't existed for a lot longer. It has been more known about or heard about, perhaps on this side of the pond in the UK, but more in the lines of with horses. So body workers would go and actually look at fascia releases, lymphatic drainage, muscle releases, tightness, different things like that. Body work also can be used as a bit of a heading for someone who maybe offers physio, osteo, chiro, massage, fascia, lymph, and even kinesiology taping as well, which is another thing. So all of those I see sort of more as under that umbrella when it comes to the horses and the equine side of things. Body workers should have probably a multitude of modalities, and they use whatever they need depending on each individual case. A lot of canine massage people popping up as well. A lot as well, they won't be able to operate unless they're under the supervision of a vet. So just depends what province, county, country that you're in and what the legalities are around that. So, do look that up and do look into things. Just don't see an ad, run into someone and willy-nilly hand them over your animal. Please don't do that. Okay, so going into a little bit more of the bodywork side of stuff and into the energy work, which is what I do more than anything else. And I mean, I class even the light therapy is energy work as well. You're working with the energy. You're working with the frequencies, the wavelengths. It's energy. But you're looking then at the likes of Reiki, quantum touch, where you're not really touching the animal in a sense. You can do a scan, you're hovering over with your hands, feeling for those hot spots, those warmer areas, or those bits where your hand actually literally physically, I find in my experiences, it won't go past there because it's showing you that something is blocked, something needs attention. So it's keeping your hand there, keeping the attention right at that place. So it knows, okay, there's something there that needs help. It's a little stuck or it's a little blocked. And I mean, certainly, some energy workers with the quantum touch or the Reiki can actually help and move that just with their hands. I found doing that was very good and great in the start. I'm going to say, oh my goodness, it's probably about 16 to 18 years ago now, to be honest with you, before I even formed Dogs of Pride and then then it was still woo-woo to me. So it was still only, I'm just going to dabble with this and play with this and think about this and get it done to me until it just became more and more valid. And I gave it a little bit more credit for what it was worth. Then I started studying in it. Then I started doing more. Then I started practicing all the rest of it. So, once I was doing that, and then I was introduced to the light, whenever I would find those blockages or something, I knew exactly what points to hit. I would go in with my torches and I would be getting releases 10 times quicker, at least, than what I would have had the results showing with the energy work or QT. So it's profound how these things will help each other and work hand in hand together. So those are a lot of the other natural ways to support the pets. Now that's from a sort of physical standpoint. Emotionally as well, emotional freedom technique, the EFT or tapping, can actually also work with animals. I'm not qualified at all in that. I can't speak too much about it, but I have actually had a few sessions with an EFT practitioner. And in fact, we actually work together back and forward. But it's very, very interesting. It's very profound. I've never delved into it. That's a very, very deep hole. I don't think I'm actually prepared to go into, only for the fact that I don't want to be involved with all the emotions. I mean, I already get emotionally attached with an animal whenever I'm actually dealing with it. And in a sense, I still have that emotional effect or receive it, because once I connect with an animal, person, whatever, then that connection is with me. As an empath, that's the downside in a sense. Certainly, I can sort of keep it out and keep my protection up. But whenever I connect or you become a client, you're family. To me, you're family, because we have that connection now, and that's actually stronger sometimes than just blood is. So going into the whole EFT to delve even deeper into the emotional side is not something that's actually for me. That might be something for you. It might be something for someone else that's listening. So whatever floats your boat, whatever resonates with you, whatever really perks your ears up or gets your attention, then certainly that's something that is obviously got some validity for your journey, and definitely explore it. What I discovered when I was doing the energy work, and actually how I do all of my testing, is applied kinesiology. So it's sway testing, muscle testing. You've heard me pretty much, I think, in every other podcast episode this year, at least, talking about how I recommend and suggest everyone learns how to muscle test. Again, I'd say it. But through that, I've actually been able to end up doing animal communication, which to me is just mind blowing. And in fact, it was the first two occurrences that happened before I actually put anything to it, any weight to it. And it was actually the owners of the animals I was dealing with that were the ones. How did you know that? How would you would not have known that? Like, how did you find that out? And it was actually through sway testing. It was actually asking yes, no questions, and then getting stopped with a no when it should have been a yes. Like, are you finished with me? And get a no. And I'm like, well, what else do you want from me? knowing some animal communicators in the past, hearing some different talks and stuff about it as well. I've always been told that the animals tend to talk in pictures because sometimes they don't have the vocabulary. So it would be like an ancient form of communication where instead of, hieroglyphs or little cave drawings, they will plant pictures in your head. And in fact, that's a lot of the ways that when I'm doing the testing and I'm showing the intention of the question that I'm asking, I'll have the picture of whatever it is. It's like, do you like broccoli? Do you need broccoli in your diet? Do you need less broccoli in your diet? And getting the yes and no answers. That's actually how it works. And as I say, I can't make this up. But yeah, the animal communication is another way. People have contacted me from across the pond. Actually, just recently, a couple of weeks ago, I got contacted by an older client that I'd known when I lived in Canada, and at our wits' end. Put it this way: the animal is still alive and should have been put to sleep a week ago. But I was able to communicate and get some more answers that had not been found out by another professional with very expensive bills racking up. So it's quite profound and amazing how, a small communication session of half an hour to an hour can actually yield some results that certainly are not going to hurt. How am I personally, actually going to hurt an animal speaking to it from 3,000 miles away? But whenever the owner, guardian, whatever you want to call yourselves, sees results within a couple of days and things change, turning around, coming back, getting better, you can't make it up. So it's very crazy in a sense if this is new to you. Sounds fantastical. I get it. I was there. I was where you are now. If you're going, this woman's off her rocker. I thought so too. And yeah, standing and pointing and laughing at people like me 20 years ago. Well, my mother always used to say, mocking is catching. But in fact, I have now worked hard to become one of those people, as I was addressed as last weekend. And it's all very interesting stuff. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg, but where we're going in the sense of the fact that we know a lot of the pharmaceuticals or the so-called medical professional industry, where they're sometimes creating more harm than good. And of course, that's a whole big web of crazy. Um, Certainly, I'm not going to speak on that at all, but there's too many people come to me with stories and experiences, and horrible experiences. And actually, I was one of them as well when I couldn't find an answer as to what was going on and almost clocked out of the planet. Um, and it was through a lot of natural methods journey through that little system or other ways. Sorry, I do get mixed up with some words sometimes. You will find I am passionate about what I do, but of course, on a podcast that's going out to the world, I'm still trying to be a little cautious on some wording and some things that I say, because lots of people there would just love to basically shut me down in a minute because they don't want me to succeed. Unfortunately, a lot of natural practitioners are in that category. And in fact, there are a lot of charlatans in the natural practitioners category, which actually does not help our profession at all. So always be careful who you're listening to. Don't jump on the bandwagon just because somebody's got 3 million followers, which are all bots, or all bot. And just do your discernment. Discernment's the biggest gift that you've ever been given, in the fact that trusting that gut instinct, looking into things deeper, asking for proper evidence, asking for, you know, good information so that things actually prove themselves to you as having validity and efficacy, all the rest of that. Um, just a little touch on other natural thingies that we can look at on a more holistic approach, in the fact of other supplements and things like that for internal. Now, certainly supplements are a whole other podcast, really, and one I might actually do. And please, anyone that's listening, if you have an idea or you have a topic that you want me to speak more on, or something you want me to look into more or share, then please let me know. Reach out to me. It's Wendie, Wendie, at FinessiamHealth.com. Simple. You're always going to get me. And I will get back to you in a reasonable amount of time. And that's a lot of things that's the biggest thing that makes me stand out from a lot of these companies is I stand behind everything. I do all the work and I'm reachable. So whether that's formulating my products, doing the work, doing the appointments, basically it's me. And you're hearing me right now. Apologies for a mixed up accent. I did spend 28 years in Canada. So people are still going, oh, you're Canadian. No, I'm actually from the UK. I'm actually from Northern Ireland. But I know a lot of that terminology has become Canadianized over the years. I didn't realize how much until I'd moved back here. So people will find a twang and go, where are you from? But just hearing that sentence, you know. Okay, so the other bits and pieces we would be looking at as opposed to just your regular nutrition and stuff like that. There's homeopathics, there are herbals, there is traditional Chinese medicine, and certainly all of the practitioners surrounding all of those as well. Some will specialize in animals, and I would always highly recommend you to look at any of these people before you take your animal to them and find out whether they muscle test, which they should. Excuse me. There's a little release showing my truth. Or to those who don't believe, a burp. But if you're going to any of these other practitioners, and including the ones who call themselves canine nutritionalists, whose work, whose study material, who produced it, where's the syllabus coming from? Where is all of that information coming from? Who's provided that? Is it from a big candy company? Therefore, it's going to be swayed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. That is just knowledge and truth. You want to have something or someone that works independently of anything else, in so much as all they are doing is talking to your specific animal uniquely. A lot of so-called natural or holistic practitioners, they will, say that they can do this, they can build a meal plan, they can do this, they can do that, they can do the other. But unless they're taking that specific animal into consideration and actually muscle testing that animal, all they're doing is ticking boxes. So they're looking at age, breed, size, weight, color, maybe, which they should. And then ticking boxes, right? And that's not necessarily where your animal fits. Your animal isn't fitting into a box. Your animal is unique. Just like we have individual fingertips, which means that we should all be looked at as an individual, then every animal also has an identifying mark, trademark, whatever it is. Not every horse has 2 swirls on its neck, or some horses have 3, some have 1, some go different ways. And there's even a whole swirl reading thing or whorl reading thing that I don't know how common that is anymore, where people would actually say what type of mentality or personality or traits that your horse would have, depending on what way the whorls were, where they were positioned, what direction they went. Absolutely fascinating stuff. So you see, there's so many other things. A lot of stuff has been pushed away in the past. A lot of things that were done in the, say, 1718, early 1900s, until way before Big Pharma came in and then basically branded everybody as snake oil salesmen so that they could sell their drugs. And that's where we are. That is actually a fact. So if you want to go back in history, Google that. Is she talking rubbish? No, in fact, this is when the Rockefellers took over and brought in Big Pharma and realized there was lots more money to make off keeping and making us sick than there was of making and keeping us well. That's a whole other rabbit hole. We're not going there. We've been there on other podcasts with other people about things like that. And certainly you can find us where we did past guestings on other people's podcasts around mostly the US, and actually, what we did it with a lovely lady in London as well that offers a service. So, anywho, I digress. Again, I've said that 3 times now. Is anyone counting? I am. So we've gone over different things that can be looked at. There's tons of stuff out there, tons of stuff out there. So if you're getting sick and tired of being sick and tired, running and paying incredibly increasing vet bills and things like that, speak to your vet. Go, is there some other alternative I can look at? Some of them, maybe the more open your vet is about suggesting looking at other options as well, or integrating other options with themselves, then kudos to that vet. Well done, applauding. Any of them that shut the rest of the stuff down, I'd go, what are you scared of? Um, there's tons and tons of animals to go around. And in fact, the horrific thing in this country is there's more and more regulations coming up for people who are trying to do good for animals than there is for the people who are doing bad for animals, in the sense of abuse, overbreeding, puppy farming, all the rest of that. So it's completely twisted, completely on its head. It's the wrong way around. But certainly helping people to find out other ways, opening up the door, realizing there is a lot more going on in the animal welfare, well-being categories or industries, whatever way you want to look at it, than just one person in a white lab coat who could be incredibly lovely and you love them to bits. And I've had some fantastic and fabulous vets over the years as well. But there's lots more than just one answer. So hopefully this gives you a few more avenues to explore. Certainly maybe come back and re-explore, or start to look at something that came across your path even 20 years ago. It's never too late to have a look at something else. If you're still here, you've got time to do it. So there you go, folks. I'm going to wrap that up for now. See you again next month, or see you whenever you're downloading the next episode or previous ones. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure. I love to impart some information, hoping that it just plants a little seed for someone to think outside the box a little more, or just open up their wheelhouse, their world, as opposed to just, this is the only way I can go. It's just straight ahead and that's it. Check out what's going on in the check out even what's going behind you. As I say, some of these things may have crossed your path before, and you've pushed them away so much, so often, they've stopped to be niggling at you. So open yourself up to that again. They may come into the forefront and go, you should really call this person. Or remember Susan said about this lady that down the road and did this for that one. Well, maybe I should call her. And you never know where it's going to take you. In fact, you may end up on a path of discovery and become one of these crazy people just like myself, and do amazing things and help hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of animals, and continue to infinity and beyond. So there we are. Love yous all. Thank you so much. Make sure that you like, subscribe, share, post this, share it, tell your friends, go visit our website, go tell your local pet professional about us to look at our products, perhaps buy our products as well. Finnessiamhealth.com is the main website that we use for all of our health and well-being. And that is our main website that we're operating from now in the UK and Ireland. If you are across the pond in Canada and the US, then you're looking at our original dogsofpride.com, which you will find us. Our channel on YouTube is Dogs of Pride. And that's where you'll find our podcasts, where you can see me on those, or download us on any of your podcast platforms that you love and adore. And please share, if you just love listening to a funny accent, that's grand. It's fine. As long as we're getting out there, as long as some listeners are coming in and finding us, and we're getting more and more different ones every single day. So it's fantastic. The word obviously is getting out there somehow, which we love. So we're falling into the right people's paths at the right times. And that's what makes this whole thing work. So love you and leave you. Thanks so much again. Take care. Have a wonderful day, and stay possum.